Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're having a good one. I'm Nick, and today I'm going to take a look at the 2021 film Superhost, which is on Shudder. If you're not familiar with Shudder, I'll definitely leave a link down in the description. It's a great service for horror, mystery, and thrillers. They pretty much only specify in those three genres, especially horror. So if you're a fan, definitely go check it out, and it's pretty cheap compared to the other streaming services. But before I get into it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy content like this and want to see more. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can go ahead and buy me a coffee. Link to that will be in the description, as well as my letterboxd. So let's get into Superhost. So Superhost was released in 2021. It stars Sarah Canning, Osric Chow, Gracie Gillam, and Barbara Crampton, and it was directed and written by Brandon Christensen. So the basic plot to this film, guys, is about these two vloggers. They're basically like YouTubers, and what they do is they go to these vacation homes and they review the location, the house, and the host of that vacation home. And in this instance, the host of the vacation home they're staying at is bad shit crazy. So right away, this concept kind of piqued my interest, especially being a YouTuber myself, put no content out there and editing and whatever and doing reviews. So it was pretty cool to see a movie that focused on some of those aspects, especially when it came to like the editing and that. They actually show some of that in the film and like how some people act different on camera than they do in real life. And the film dives into all those little aspects that I found really clever and cool. And yeah, I mean, it feels authentic. Like, they got the like and subscribe come up on the screen when they're talking and everything. And it's like, wow, this feels like a real video that you'd find on like YouTube or any other platform like that. And when they arrive at this vacation home they're supposed to be staying at, like right away, something's off. Like for instance, when they get there, they can't find anybody in that, and the house is locked and they can't get in until they do meet the host or the hostess, whatever, and she red flags right away. Like, the film doesn't try to make it a twist where she's crazy. They pretty much show you right away that there's something wrong with this girl, but you can't quite pinpoint what's going to happen. And you're always like, maybe she's just like that. She's not really like crazy like a murderer or anything. Maybe she's just different, and the film's going to take you in a different direction, and you're never quite sure. And that's what I like. I like when you can't predict exactly what's going to happen. And they, like I said, they didn't try to hide that the host of this place is crazy or anything. They show you right away. But then you're like, where is this going to go? And it's just a lot of build up and tension that worked really well for me. It's just the suspense and mystery really goes along really well with the pacing. It keeps you engaged. Like I said, it keeps you guessing. And that's what you want from this type of film. You don't want to, as soon as you start it, know exactly how everything's going to turn out. And yeah, that wasn't the case for this film. The build-up was with every scene. There's like a little something that happens. You're like, but they're giving you a little bit at a time, not everything at once, right? So the build-up was a nice build-up right to the climax, and where the tension's all out at that point. And the location they used in this film was really great too. You got it in the woods. That's a great start to a horror movie where you got low reception and everything, especially nowadays with technology. It's kind of hard. There's some films back in the 80s and that they did that you couldn't recreate now because someone could just call the cops, like on their cell phone, right? Or on their laptop. But yeah, you got to get them out into the environments where there's no help or service, and they do that in certain aspects. So yeah, we're in this woods, basically in this house in the woods. The house has a great design to it. Obviously, that's one of the reasons why the vloggers wanted to go to this place, because it was always booked before, and the pictures in that look great. And yeah, stunning cinematography, whether you're talking about outside or inside the house. The design, it looks great, especially for like a smaller scale film like this. There's only 4 actors in the entire film, only 4 cast, and they did what they could with their budget and with their restraints, and you can't really tell. This film looks like a big budget blockbuster movie, like in looks wise, visually. It's stunning, it looks great. And I thought they did a really good job with what they had. It was smart not to try to expand out farther than their one set location almost. They don't venture too far off from that vacation home. And like I said, not many characters in that, so they did a great job with everything they had. And while the characters are limited to only a few, They all serve a really good purpose. They're all interesting in their own ways and unique. It's easy to set them all apart. And yeah, there's a lot of films like this where you get a few people that you're like, oh, was it him doing that or him? You're not going to have that problem in this movie. Everybody is unique and original in their own way, and they all have their own values. Our two main leads are Teddy and Claire. Those are the vloggers. Now, Teddy, I feel like, is the most likable, the most relatable out of all these characters. He seems to be the most down to earth and sensible, especially in the job aspect and like the YouTube scene, where Claire, his partner, she's more about the business, about the money, and it's unfortunate because there's a few times in the movie where their friendship comes into effect because she's focusing more on the job and then her life and her family. Like, you know, she essentially chooses fame over family. And while Teddy is the voice of reason. Now, when we're getting into our villain, we get Rebecca. Now, she is something out of this world. I love the performance by the actress that played Rebecca. She did an amazing job. It's just so fascinating to see her because she's like so cute in that on the outside, but it doesn't take long for the red flags to go up and you to be like, oh, there's something off about this woman. You never quite do know her true intentions until later in the film when it's too late for her characters. And it almost seems like she has like a borderline personality disorder. But she was played great. Great performances all around. We also get Barbara Crampton in a smaller role in this film. Don't expect her to be like one of the main characters or anything. But I didn't, so I wasn't disappointed. But yeah, she is the queen of horror. Well, one of them anyway, and it's great to see her back in modern horror movies like this, and she did a great job with what she was given. Now, once we get into the third act of this film, when attention's at like an all-time high, there really is a few twists and turns I didn't see coming here and there. Like I said, you kind of figure bad shit's gonna happen, but you're not sure how. And yet, it kind of pulled the rug out from under me a few times in the third act, and I'm like, this is pretty crazy, and I love how things played out. And when it comes to the final resolution in the film, I wasn't really sure how to take it at first. While it was unfolding, like right after the third act, like when we're getting to the very final acts of the movie, I'm like, I'm not sure if that's exactly how I would have wanted things to play out. But then the last like minute of the film, it shows you something, and you're like, okay, it reassured me that I do love this ending. It's sort of ironic the way things play out for the YouTubers, and that, well, I call them YouTubers, not really YouTubers, they're just vloggers, but the app and program that they're using looks very similar to YouTube. I'm sure they couldn't use it because of rights purposes and that. But yeah, the way things play out, I'm like, wow, it actually flipped the page right at the very end. I was like, now I like this ending. And that is a good way to end. You don't want to end on a sour note or me being kind of mixed on the ending. But the very last thing they show you, I don't want to get into spoilers. I was like, okay, now I like how this went and how things played out. So if I'm going to have to drop a rating on this film, I'm going to have to give it a very solid 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a very good, like, dark thriller if you're into that type of stuff. They really took advantage of what they had to work with and did the most that they could with it. So there you have it, guys. There's my review for Superhost. I hope you enjoyed it. This was suggested by a few of my friends online, so I figured I'd give it a shot, and I was not disappointed. This was a pretty solid flick. So that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, thanks for watching.